I'm Cristen Maddox, your Public Information Officer, and we are here today with a very important organization. We have the Substance Awareness Center and SAFER, which is Substance Abuse Free Indian River, and some different representatives with us today to tell us a little bit about different substances and awareness and prevention resources for our students and parents. And because this month is Substance Abuse Awareness Month, we have partnered and we are rolling out some really great ideas and resources both in the district and with this organization. So first, we have Carrie Lester, and she is Executive Director of the Substance Awareness Center. And Carrie, if you could just explain to our viewers a little bit about the Substance Awareness Center and SAFER and how they kind of work together and what falls under what.
Sure, no problem, Kristen. So I am the Executive Director of the Substance Awareness Center, and we really follow two beliefs at our center. We believe prevention works. We believe in the science that says prevention works, and we follow that science. And we believe that recovery works. But we're really here today talking about prevention, substance abuse awareness, and prevention. And so the SAFER Coalition, Substance Abuse Free Indian River, is our community's substance abuse prevention coalition. And SAFER really is an arm of our agency. We are the fiscal agent and lead agency for the coalition's efforts. And the coalition really, we receive Drug-Free Communities grant funding for community level change. Mm-hmm. As an agency, we believe prevention works. We provide the individual strategies, the prevention programming, but we also participate with the coalition to put community level change in place.
Okay, great. And from SAFER, the director of the SAFER Coalition, we have Michelle Boldeau, so welcome.
Thank you.
And we also have Kylie Savoy, who's the community health advocate for the Quit Doc Foundation. Welcome, Kylie.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here today. So recently we passed a resolution. We were the first school district in Florida to pass a resolution targeting e-cigarettes and other ENDS products, electronic nicotine delivery systems is what that acronym is. And can you just talk a little bit about the resolution and why you feel that it's important for our district to pass something like that?
Well, I commend the district. I commend Chairwoman Zork for taking the lead to get the resolution in place. As a prevention provider, my life skills training staff are in front of 5,000 students each year teaching a substance abuse prevention program. And they have been screaming at me very loudly, and at least for the last 2 years, if not 3, about the problem we're having with vaping in our community. Mm. And so we have been proactive. Last year, all of our life skills facilitators took a special webinar to learn how to infuse vaping through Botvin life skills training into the prevention curriculum they're already doing to do some specific targeting around vaping and the vaping epidemic. And we really are in an epidemic. Our Surgeon General has called it an epidemic. It is happening here in Indian River County, and we need legislative action, and this proclamation is a first step in that direction. And we need community-wide support, and that's why we work so closely with our community partners, because we as a prevention provider can't do it alone. Prevention is a partnership. We all need to work together. And so I think it was an important first step that we've made, and we will not stop. We will not stop.
And I know that Chairman Zork, her next action is to get this resolution in front of as many school boards as possible, and in hopes that they will pass similar resolutions that will support legislation and make some positive changes. So thank you for partnering with us in that. And I know you presented at the board meeting, and it was standing room only that night, which is wonderful. And it was very important that we shared the information that you had first, so that everyone in the audience that night, there were a lot of students, there were a lot of parents there. We had our FSA students being recognized for perfect scores. And it was the chairman's wishes to provide that information first in presentation so that all their ears could hear it. And I know Christina DeFalco was there as well.
She has been a lead champion in this community on this issue, and she will not stop. She believes strongly in the cause and has kept it alive in my face as her executive director and on the radar of principals and school administration.
That's wonderful. And I know we're so used to seeing her out with her cap and gown at different schools. You know, even if someone doesn't know her name, they know, oh, she's the one that wears the cap and gown at car pickup, and it's really special for the students to see her out there. So now we were talking about the life skills training. Can you explain what that looks like in our schools right now?
Yeah, we offer the Botvin Life Skills Training Program, and that has over 35 years of research and evidence behind it. And really, it's important that communities choose science-based prevention, because there is a lot of research that tells us what works and what doesn't work in the name of prevention. And sometimes we may do well-intended things that have a boomerang effect or can backfire. So we follow science at our agency. We make sure we follow the research. And so this is a fabulous program that has received national recognition as a Blueprints Model Plus program for prevention. The research on it has been proven time and time again. And so in our school district, we have 5 trained life skills facilitators. They 4 of them are housed at our 4 main middle schools, and then we have 1 that floats through some of the elementary schools and smaller schools in our district. But every 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade student in Indian River County receives 38 weeks of life skills training. And so what that really equates to is 38 weeks of a social skills training program. It's not don't do drugs. It's really what does science say how we prevent health risk behaviors, including tobacco use, nicotine use, other substance use, even violence and bullying, is these social skills. And so our kids get armed with tools in a tool belt to navigate through life. And that's a real gift that I think our community gives the students.
Absolutely. And how does that work into their curriculum? How does that work into their daily schedule?
So in the middle schools, we are in a core curriculum, we're in a core subject. And so 1 day a week when you go to your science class or your language arts class, you will receive life skills training for the duration of the curriculum. And so in 6th grade, it's a 15-week curriculum. In 7th grade, it is a 10-week curriculum. And in 8th grade, it's a booster of 5 weeks. And in 5th grade, the different principals have it through either different specials or different, different components throughout the school day. And that is 8 weeks.
Great. So we're supporting our students in school, and they're hearing the information. Michelle, what are we doing through the Safer Coalition to support our parents and provide resources to our parents?
Well, we are holding a lot of educational events for parents and adults. So we're touching on marijuana, underage drinking. We just held one at Indian River Shores called Hidden in Plain Sight, where we had a DRE officer show parents where drugs or alcohol can be hidden in a teen bedroom set. So we had a mock bedroom set set up with all hidden compartments, and just showing the signs and different behavioral signs to a parent if they suspect something. So our next forum that we are having is our marijuana forum, which is going to be held next week, October 22nd, at Indian River State College. It's an all-day training. We have 2 speakers coming in from HIDA, who will be speaking really about what is going on in Colorado and the dangers of marijuana. And, you know, it's pretty scary what you don't see.
Right.
And he will bring that to light. So it's a great educational piece for parents and any adults who wants to learn more about that. We also have an underage drinking town hall meeting, which is coming up November 12th, and that will be at the IG Center. And that is free also. It's from 7 to 8:30, and that's going to be talking about the teenage brain and addiction, and starting with alcohol. So we'll have a doctor there, and we'll have the sheriff's office talking about social hosting and social access. And then we partnered with Life Skills, Christina DeFalco, and we are having a monthly coffee and conversations. And it's going to be at Panera at Miracle Mile. It'll be the first Thursday of every month at 7 o'clock, and it's just talking with parents. What are their concerns? What are their issues? And we'll talk about trends that are going on. So our first one, actually, Kylie will be attending. We're talking about vaping. Okay. So our first one will be around vaping. You just come, and hopefully they'll spread the word. These parents will spread the word to others in the community and be the advocate for change.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's 7 o'clock p.m. at Panera. So
at Panera.
It's a great time. Most of us are getting off of work and can get the kids settled and come and have coffee and conversation about some really important topics.
Exactly. We'll have different speakers. And then the last one we're having is a vaping Forum. So that'll be December 4th at the Vero Beach Elks Club, and that'll be at 7, I think it's 6:30. 6:30. So that'll be a whole thing on the dangers of vaping, addiction. We have a doctor coming for that also. So parents, we want to spread, information and awareness and get them educated and resources that they can go to.
If I can piggyback on what Michelle's saying too, as a parent, we don't know what we don't know. And I'll even admit, a few years ago when my staff started talking to me about vaping, like I heard about it, but I didn't really know what it looked like or what it was. And I work in the field, and so I can imagine what it's like for parents who aren't faced with this on a daily basis. And so the educational events that are put out are so important, because as parents we all want to do our best, but we don't know what we don't know. And we work with the youth that have been identified as engaging in some of these risky behaviors, such as substance use or vaping. And a lot of the parents say, well, I didn't know what that thing was. My husband and I were moving it around the house, and we don't know what we don't know. So I encourage all parents to come out, get informed, and we can help each other. Because it does take a village. Prevention is a partnership, and we can help one another.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important to have support, in school and out of school, and for both students and for parents. And I know as a parent of 4 that just from speaking with you all, in preparation for the proclamation and the resolution, I learned so many interesting facts. And from doing my own research on e-cigarettes and these electronic delivery systems, the nicotine delivery systems, it's shocking. And it's shocking to see the age of kids that are using these products and abusing them, and at what a young age kids are becoming addicted. It's terrifying, honestly. And Kylie, you were presenting at the board meeting some really important information about e-cigarettes and vaping. You're like our e-cigarette expert with a wealth of information. So can you give us just some information, just some things that our viewers and parents might be able to relate to, or just some really important things to know about vaping?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's all over the news, this vaping epidemic. And it's really important for parents to just kind of have that conversation with their kids, know what's going on, know what nicotine is and what it does to the developing brain. When we talk about e-cigarettes, they can look from anything from flash drives. The most common brand, Juul, resembles exactly like a USB flash drive, but they can also look nothing like what you would expect, nothing like a cigarette. It could be one of those big tank devices that are just huge and bulky. So there really is just a wide array of information out there. Florida Department of Health is working with key partners in the Centers of Disease Control to really make sure that we're getting the information that we need on this issue. As the Tobacco-Free Partnership, our goal this year is to educate as many youth and parents as possible about the dangers of ENDS use among youth and what it can do to your brain and how harmful it is. So we've partnered with SAFER and SAC to kind of help with that mission. We also have our students working against tobacco clubs. So at certain schools, if kids go and they really want to help do peer education and be student ambassadors against vaping, we have them for those to join as well. Our Not a Lab Rat Day actually is starting tomorrow. So October 16th is the day that all students stand up and say, we're not going to be Big Tobacco's lab rats. We're not going to test these e-cigarette products, because we are entering a realm of unknown. We do not know the long-term health effects of vaping. They've only been on the market for several years. We don't know what it's going to do to us 20, 30 years from now. But we know that when Big Tobacco is involved, it's not a pretty picture. Altria, which is a company that makes Marlboro cigarettes, has a 33% stake in Juul. And then Imperial Tobacco makes My Blue e-cigarettes. So it's really important to consider, these products, it's not this new independent thing. They're coming from Big Tobacco.
And I think that resolution really helps us take a stand against Big Tobacco. I mean, it's egregious, the marketing practices that have been put into play, targeting our youth. And we've come a long way with cigarette use and reining in Big Tobacco's practices amongst cigarettes, and they came in the back door, and we all need to take a stand.
Right, and I know when we were speaking earlier, I was mentioning that I felt like with cigarettes that we almost did have, I wouldn't say control, but a lot of awareness about cigarettes and the dangers of cigarettes, and it wasn't necessarily something cool kids
right.
did anymore. It was more of like if you smoked, you were an outcast. You were the person outside of the restaurant or outside of the party,
Right.
you know, smoking and then coming back in, and
it smelled
you know, it
and-
wasn't a pretty cool picture anymore. And then e-cigarettes come around, and to be honest, when they started marketing them, I thought, oh, great. I mean, look at they're fruity and colorful and flavorful, and it looks like vapor. You know, how is that going to hurt anyone? And then you start finding out what's actually in that vapor,
Right.
and how dangerous it is. And it's being called even more addictive than a cigarette now, isn't it?
The nicotine content in Juul devices is very high. The delivery through, they use a nicotine salt that can make it more addictive. And even mentioning the CDC, the dangers of, we don't even know the long-term effects, but we know there are over 1,200 confirmed cases of lung-related illness across 48 states, and you know, over 25 deaths. So it is very concerning. I mean, as a parent, it's very concerning to me. And again, when we take a look at, we've taken a giant leap backwards in our attitudes around nicotine use and how harmful it is not only to our lungs but to that developing adolescent brain that we work
Right.
so hard in prevention to protect.
Right. And Kylie, you mentioned something earlier about flu season and symptoms being more difficult to tell if it's a vaping related or if it's flu related. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, you know, this is where having a conversation with your kid is most important, you know, just knowing what's going on in their life, because we are entering flu season, but it can mask other symptoms. Again, we don't know exactly what chemicals are causing it or what devices. There is no statement on that yet. And the Florida Department of Health will do our best, you know, keep us updated. But, you know, have those conversations with your kids. If you see something that you don't know what it is, you know, talk with them about it. You mentioned earlier about vapor, and I think that's a really important thing to bring up. It's not a harmless water vapor that these kids are using. It's an aerosol, and they have chemicals in them. They have a high nicotine content. 1 Juul pod is worth 20 cigarettes. 1 pod is 1 pack, so they're equivalent to each other. And so that amount of nicotine on your brain is a lot.
And so you say 1 pod, and I'm not familiar with e-cigarettes. I've never held one. I've seen them. I've never held one or, you know, used one myself. But is the pod a one use, or how many uses?
So they equate it to the equivalent of a pack of cigarettes, so about 200 puffs before
Okay.
it's gone. But it's different than a cigarette because a cigarette you watch burn down. It has an end point. With this, it doesn't end until it's gone. And you go, oh wow, that was a whole
Don't
pod.
even realize it.
Yeah.
Right.
So the pods are separate from the device because the device has a battery and a heating component, and you add the liquid to it.
Okay.
So the device is the part that gets charged on a laptop or in a USB port.
Okay.
And you can also add like marijuana oil
That's
too.
another. So
Right.
there's an increasing number of youth who are using marijuana oils in these vape products, which has a very high THC content, which is very concerning.
Yes.
You know, for us in the name of substance abuse prevention. And so just
Right.
being aware of that, you know, some of the youth really initially don't even know what they're using. They believe it's nicotine free. However, when researchers look at and buy these nicotine free products, nicotine actually is in those products. And so it is buyer beware, and I think we all need to make sure that we're as well educated as possible. I heard Kylie say several times today, again, talk to your children, and really when we talk about substance abuse prevention and awareness, that conversation, talk to your children. They hear you. If you talk, they'll
They are
listen.
listening. Yeah.
And really research says talking is key, and also taking a firm stance. Letting your stance be known and taking a firm stance against vaping or other substance use, and being a role model wherever possible.
Right, and it can be an uncomfortable thing to talk to, you know, your kids about possible substances that they could be abusing, and I think that's why it's so important, you know, for parents to come to these chats, these coffee talks that you're having, and these informational sessions and events, because you can learn ways to approach your child without them feeling, you know, violated or attacked.
Right.
That's important.
And I know that even with my kids, and they're younger, with the exception of one who's in high school, I still ask them once I started researching the e-cigarettes and ENDS products, you know, have any of your friends at school talked about vaping? Have you seen anyone vaping? You know, have you seen anyone carry around a device with them? And you know, you'd be very surprised by answers that you get. I mean, my kids are in elementary school, you know, and the knowledge that they have just from hearing about it from their friends or whoever's talking about it, it's alarming.
Oh yeah.
And I know when we were talking about the different like disguises that the e-cigarettes have, or the vaping products have, is an inhaler. When you said that, it kind of took me back a little bit, because I have two sons that have asthma, and I know their inhalers are actual inhalers,
Right.
because I'm picking them up from the pharmacy, and that's what they're using. But just to think about, you know, a parent thinking, an older high school kid, oh yeah, that's the inhaler that he has for his asthma, and it's actually, instead of helping him, it's killing him. You know, it's really something that you need to be aware of. So, Michelle, you were mentioning networking with elementary school parents, and you know, it may be a little bit of a younger age group than most people are thinking of when you're talking about parents and students being aware. Would you encourage, you know, elementary school parents to come to these coffee talks?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think the younger your child is, I mean, the more information you can get at an early age, absolutely.
And do you have plans for networking within the elementary schools with these parents?
Yes, we would love to set up something for elementary parents where we would have resources for them and have all agencies come around the table and give them information, whether it's either substance abuse or bullying or social media, anything that they would be concerned about and they don't know where to go. And I don't know about these gaming and what's going on, so we want to give them information of, you know, that could help them.
Right, that's great. And Kylie, you mentioned our students working against tobacco groups. Can you tell us which schools? I think you said there was about 5 of them.
So there is 4 schools. We have Oslo Middle School, which meets on the first Thursday of every month from 2:45 to 4:15. We have our Sebastian River Middle School that meets on the second Thursday of every month from 2:45 to 4:15. Then we have our Indian River Charter High School, which is in with partnership with Safer. They meet every other Tuesday from 4 to 5, sorry. And then our Vero Beach High School SWAT, which is also our Safer Youth Coalition, which meets every other Tuesday from 7 to 8.
And what are these groups doing within their schools to build awareness or prevention?
So as I mentioned, the big thing right now is the Not a Lab Rat campaign. So right now in Oslo Middle School tomorrow we'll have a bunch of postcards that say, I'm not a lab rat, I am blank. And so a lot of our SWAT kids have figured out, you know, have filled out like, oh, I am smart, I am in control, I am me. It's kind of that statement against big tobacco, we're not going to test these products. But, you know, they get their own education on the dangers of vaping, they learn about tobacco and the big tobacco's tricks, and they kind of become informed students, and they become informed leaders among their peers. They come to the county commission to talk with them. You know, they really are an integral part when we talk about tobacco control and vaping control here in the community, because their voice goes 1,000 miles longer than mine. And so they really do make a difference.
Right, and it is so important that peer-to-peer relationship and trust that you have, you know, speaking with students your own age that have knowledge about, you know, different substances. And I really think, and I hope for our district now that we're, you know, rolling out all of these efforts kind of all together, that we can expand those groups into even more schools, you know, and just make sure that all of our students have some sort of mentor, whether it's a student or a teacher, to speak to regarding substance abuse, substance awareness. And I think that would be like a great goal for us.
Yeah, building our youth leaders is really key. It's key to our future. It's key to change. And, you know, in Indian River County, I think we're very lucky, blessed, and unique in that we have a prevention provider that reaches so many youth with primary prevention, and we have the layering of community level change, all kind of bundled up in one. And you know, I for one feel very positive about what we'll be able to do with our youth and what we'll be able to see in the name of change in our community, particularly around vaping, which is you know, really in our face as an epidemic.
Absolutely, and we have some important information and resources on our school district website now, indianriverschools.org, on our student services page, where students, parents, anyone in the community can go, and there are different trainings, there's different information and resources about different substances and substance abuse. And we will keep that updated, and we will keep the events that are coming from the Substance Awareness Center and SAFER updated, so that our community, that they make sure that they know about them and that they can attend. Is there anything else, ladies, that you feel that is important to mention today?
I will say we do have a tobacco-free partnership meeting. It does meet on the first Wednesday of every month at 2 o'clock, so that is another area of, if you're really concerned about vaping and tobacco use, you can get involved at the parent level.
Awesome.
I would encourage all parents to get involved in some way, shape, or form, whether it's attending the community events, whether it is joining our SAFER coalition, our tobacco-free partnership. We have a student health advisory committee that meets for the school district. Parents are welcome to become involved there. And you can reach out to our agency. Our website's sacirc.org for more information.
Yeah, and we're always looking for members of our coalition, and we're growing our youth coalition. We have about 20 active youth, so we're always looking for youth for that.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I just think it's so important, parents, community members, don't wait until it's too late, until you already have a child that's addicted to a substance. Work on prevention now, and talking to your kids, your students at home now, and opening up that dialogue so we can bring more awareness and not have to worry about getting addicted children off of these substances. So once again, thank you for being here. I'm Cristen Maddox, your Public Information Officer. Have a wonderful day.